Hello, everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my great short story series, we're going to be beginning a brand new short story, The Destructors by Greene. In fact, it doesn't get any more classic than Greene. So what we're going to do today is just spend the hour reading. I'll help you with some comprehension questions and some vocabulary. But mostly we're going to look at someone who was able to write both modern and classic short stories, able to withstand the literary currents of the day, modernism, but also able to write a classically structured, classically themed short story that seems to be just as relevant today as it was then, and also made into a famous movie. So that will help as well. Okay, we'll get started in just a second. First, a little bit about me. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal, to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up. That means turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom nice and quiet. Tune into the new words you're learning when you are speaking so I can correct you and give you feedback. Also, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. And that is all you need to know about me. Let's find out something about you. Let's see, who do we have here today? Oh, Sylvia. How are you, Sylvia?
Hi, I'm fine, thanks.
Nice and cold and in England. You're not in England. You're in
No.
Italy. Nice and
Yeah,
cold
but
in
it's
Italy
cold.
today?
Yes, we haven't the snow. Okay, here there isn't the snow because I know that in England now it's snowing a lot, but it's cold.
Here too. That's why I'm wearing a jacket, a scarf, and 2 sweaters, because it's cold. Let's see if I can get this on the screen for you. There you go. Let's see. So, let's see if there's anyone else joining us today. I guess even Verbling users go on holiday. I guess. But anyway, this is a good story for you.
The Destructors.
The Destructors. Do you know why this is a great story for you, Sylvia?
No.
You're gonna find
I
out.
know Greene
Mm-hmm.
because he wrote some story for children.
Possibly. I don't think of him as a children's author. He might have. You don't remember which story?
No, but it's
Hello,
a
John.
familiar name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a very he's a very famous writer, but not for children's stories. He might have. I don't know. Hello, Dario. How are you?
Hello. Hello. Fine, thanks. And you?
Very good. Very good. Um, well, take a look at that image. This was made into a film as well, not just a short story. And I think you can actually see the entire film on YouTube because it's kind of an old film. Um, so, what's your impression just from looking at that? I think that what I'm trying to say is I believe this is a still from the film, or for one of the films. But anyway, even if it's, I can't remember. Because I never saw the original film. But anyway, it's got a certain cinematic quality. What do you think the story is going to be about, just looking at that first image? What comes to mind? All of you. Can you see what's happening in the picture?
Yeah, there is an aggressive boy.
The rage of the boy.
A boy with rage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's more than one boy, right?
Yeah. Sorry?
There is more than one boy.
Yes, but the other he's quiet.
So there's an aggressive boy, there's a quiet boy, and I'll scroll down
Okay.
just a little bit. And
A
Mm-hmm.
gun.
what's and a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll give you a little hint. The gun is not really part of the story. It's just part of the picture. By the way, let's say a quick hello to Mohsen, who's just joining us right now. Hello, Mohsen.
Hello, hello.
How are you, Mohsen?
Thank you. I'm fine.
Very good. And where are you from?
I'm from Iran.
From Iran. Are you in Iran
Yes.
right now?
Yes.
Oh, okay, very good. You've got a very good connection, by the way. You sound crystal clear. Um, is this your first time at Verbling?
No, I'm in Berlin about 2 weeks, I
Ah,
think.
okay. Well, you're a new face. I haven't seen you before.
Yes,
So,
but
so,
it is the first time I attend your class,
okay. Well, this
and
class,
I'm grateful to you.
I'm grateful to you, Mohsen.
Yeah, thank you.
This class is our literature class, kind of. Not really. We're not going to read big books, but we are going to read short fiction. And I try to give you a variety. All of these stories are the real stories. They haven't been changed for non-native speakers. So, what I try to do is to give you a little bit of help as we read with vocabulary, and I try to ask the kinds of questions that you should be asking yourself as you read the story to help you follow what's going on. It's difficult to read in a foreign language, and I'm not making the language of the text any easier, okay? But I will be here to guide you through it. In this story, I haven't changed anything yet. I want us just to read, and what I'll do after class is try to add some discussion questions for you to think about between now and the next class, okay? So we'll see how far we get. Okay, so Dario and Sylvia, you mentioned there's probably something about aggression, something about children, and maybe something about relationships because we've got two boys with two different emotions. So all of those things may be important factors. The gun, I'm not so sure, but we'll find out. Um, and Sylvia, earlier you said that Graham Greene is familiar, right?
Yeah.
What about you, Dario, or you, Mohsen? Have you heard the name of the author, Graham Greene? Sound familiar to you?
No, for me, no. For me, no. I know that is a famous. He was a famous scripter,
Writer?
writer. Yes, but I don't know. Uh,
Well, I don't. He's
I
one.
haven't
He's
seen. Hmm.
sorry. Go ahead. Did I cut you off? Okay, I
Sorry,
guess not.
sorry.
So I don't know very much about his autobiography, um, but uh, I do know that he's a writer who was very much affected by the wars, both wars. In particular, I know that he worked with the government. So he was a writer, but a lot of what he wrote about, not this particular story, but a lot of what he wrote about came from his personal experience working in, if I'm not mistaken, uh, basically in counterintelligence, if I remember right. But again, I don't know a lot about his biography. One thing I do know is that one of the great films in the history of cinema was a Graham Greene short story. Let me see if I can give you a quick link to it as well. Uh, oops. Let me see if I can give you a quick link on Wikipedia. Uh, Oops, no, that's not the one I wanted. Anyway, I wanted to give you Wikipedia. Give me just a second. I went too far. There we go. One of the great, all-time great films in the history of cinema is this one, which I'll also give you a link to in the chat window. Has anyone seen The Third Man? Maybe you've seen it on television late at night because it's an old movie. At the end of the movie, Orson Welles, as an actor, is trapped in the sewers uh, under Vienna, and he's being chased by a crowd, by the police. He's being chased by an international crowd of police who are um, trying to manage the city after all the destruction of World War II, and the city is divided up between nations. So he's chased through the sewers, and the very last shot of the film, a very iconic shot, is of his fingers going through the sewer grate, but he can't get out because it's sealed. And that's one of the last shots of the movie. And it's almost like a Western. It's not a Western, it's a film noir, but it's almost like a Western, sort of a showdown between the law and the outlaw. Have any of you seen this film, The Third Man?
No, I haven't.
Yes,
Oh,
I
yeah?
watched it, but now I can't remember detail of the film. But I think the movie is about a person who is suspected to murder, I think.
Mm-hmm. More than that, he's suspected of doing terrible things. He's just, it's basically the black market after World War II. This shot here of the Ferris wheel is the other famous shot of the movie, where the third man, Orson Welles, I guess, who doesn't appear in the entire movie until almost the end. He's like a ghost figure. He has a meeting with the hero in this Ferris wheel. It's a very famous scene. Anyway, go out and see the film later today, and then tell me what you think. This is a Grand Greene story that you might know, so I just point that out, and you can maybe think about what this story and the film maybe have in common as well. Or you can read the book that he wrote, but I think he wrote the screenplay before the book. Um, anyway, that's just a little bit of the background of the author. Go out and see The Third Man. You can probably see it on YouTube, actually. All right. So, oh, and because The Third Man is set during wartime and it deals with the reaction, particularly the reaction after the war, you can also imagine that this story would be in some way about the reaction of people dealing with war or afterwards. So keep it in mind. Let's start to read, and I'll be adding comments and questions and things like that as we go along. In fact, what I'm going to do is create a little file, and I'll copy and paste my questions. I'll write them, then copy and paste them maybe at the end to make it a little bit easier here. So let's do it. I'll get you started, then we'll just go around the room. So I'll start just the first paragraph. Let's make this a little easier to see. And by the way, you can open this using the link. You can open this using the link in the chat window if you can't see it, okay? The Destructors by Greene. It was on the eve of August bank holiday that the latest recruit became the leader of Wormsley Common gang. Wormsley Common, by the way, is the place where these kids live. Common is like square, like Wormsley Square. No one was surprised except Mike, but Mike, at the age of 9, was surprised by everything. If you don't shut your mouth, somebody once told him, you'll get a frog down it. And after that, Mike had kept his teeth tightly clamped, except when the surprise was too great. So, are we dealing with adults or kids here? Uh-oh, what happened? What happened to my text? That was weird. My text disappeared for a minute. Are we dealing with adults or kids? Are we dealing with adults or kids?
Kids.
Okay, just making sure that's clear. Do you think, what's the business with the frog?
Because his mouth is closed. It's
Mm-hmm.
impossible that a frog came into his
Well,
mouth.
literally, yeah, but what? Who's saying that to him, and what do you think the person means?
I
Was
think
it?
it's an adult who said him close your mouth because he was surprised all the time. And so,
Okay. Yeah, like could have been an adult. Yeah, could have been an adult. Could have been a kid. If it was an adult, I guess the point is he walks around with his mouth open all the time.
yeah.
And someone said, if you don't shut your mouth, a frog is going to jump in there. No one wants a frog in their mouth. I thought it was a kid because if you don't shut your mouth, it sounded like a threat. Like I'm going to shove something down your throat if you don't, shut your mouth. But maybe you're right. Maybe it's an adult. Anyway, we start to get details of the character just by the description, right? So we know that we've got Mike, and uh, Mike was surprised by everything. The latest recruit. We don't know who the latest recruit is. Well, Sylvia, why don't you take it away after that?
Yes. The new recruit had been with the gang since the beginning of the summer holidays, and there were possibilities about his brooding silence that all recognized. He never wasted a word, even to tell his name, until that was required of him by the rules. When he said Trevor, it was a statement of fact, not as it would have been with the others, a statement of shame or defiance, nor did
Defiance.
defiance. Nor did anyone laugh except Mike, who, finding himself without support and meeting the dark gaze of the newcomer, opened his mouth and was quiet again. There was every reason why
T.
Peter,
Hmm.
as he was afterward referred to, should have been an object of mockery. There was his name, and they substituted the initial because otherwise they had no excuse not to laugh at it. The fact that his father, a former architect and present clerk, had come down in the world, and that his mother considered herself better than the neighbours. What but an odd quality of danger, of the unpredictable, established him in the gang without any ignoble ceremony of initiation?
Ig-
Ignoble ceremony.
ignoble.
Ignoble
Yeah.
ceremony of initiation?
Okay. And the character is T for Trevor. That's the
Yeah.
new recruit. And he gets rid of the name Trevor and uses T. Why might he be the object of mockery here? Let's see if that part is clear.
I don't know what is mockery.
What is mockery, class? Mockery, to mock. If I mock you, am I saying something nice or something not so
Mm,
nice?
Not so nice.
Exactly. So mockery is to laugh at, to make fun of.
Uh,
Why might he be the quote object of a mockery? So why might people make fun of him? It's in the text, but let's make sure it's clear. Why might people make fun of him?
for his name?
And for his name? Because people will know him. And what's his connection to his family? His name was given to him by his mother. And what about his family?
Okay, his father was an architect and a clerk.
No, not an architect and a clerk. His father was an architect, but now he's a clerk. That's
Okay.
important. He has come down in the world.
So he decided to give up with his work and became a clerk.
Do you think he decided, or do you think
Mm,
he was forced to?
he was forced.
He was forced to.
Mm.
He didn't decide to do anything. And then we've got a little problem, because what's Trevor's mother like?
Like a man.
Like a what?
A man, his mother considered herself better than the neighbors.
Do men consider themselves better than their neighbors?
No, but I think he's, I don't know.
what, what do you mean like a man? Why like a man?
Because if his father doesn't decide nothing, anything,
Hmm.
so
But considered here. Considered means she thought. She thought about herself as better than the neighbors. She thought about herself. So, what do we call people who think about themselves as better?
hmm, narcissistic.
Snobs.
Stop.
She's a snob. But does she have the right to be a snob? Okay, no one's got the right to be a snob, but does she have any justification for being a snob today? Does she have a fancy husband with a fancy job? Remember, this is 60 years ago or more, right? This is a while ago. Attitudes have changed. So she might have one time felt justified in thinking she was better because she had a fancy husband with a fancy job and a fancy life. Does she have that anymore?
No.
Not at all. Her husband has come down in the world. He lost his job. And as we read, you'll see it's not just them, it's everybody. The country was practically destroyed by the bombing. So this is right after the war, and everyone has been affected, and maybe there are no jobs anymore, right? So, but she still considers herself better than her neighbors. So obviously, if everyone links Trevor to the family, then they've got some reason to make fun of him. So maybe that's the reason why he gets rid of his name and he calls himself T. Maybe. I don't know. Just a theory. I like making theories.
Mm-mm.
Is that okay?
Yep.
I'm a theorist. Kinda. So Sylvia, I said earlier this is the perfect story for you. Now do you see why?
Because his father was an architect.
Because this is a lesson about being an architect. And it's a story about architecture. It's very much a story all about architecture, as you will see. Dario, take it away. Next paragraph.
Okay. The gang met every morning in a
Prompt.
impromptu.
Yeah,
I don't know what is impromptu.
you will, because I'm going to add a definition
Okay.
right now.
Impromptu car park. The site of the last bomb of the first Blades. The leader, who was known as Blackie, claimed to have heard it fall, and no one was precise enough in his dates to point out that he would have been 1 year old and fast asleep on the down platform of Wormsley Common underground station. On one side of the car park leaned the first occupied house, number 3, of the
Shattered.
shattered Northwood Terrace.
Terrace. Terrace.
Terrace.
Terrace is like the little part outside. If you have an esplanade outside of a cafe, it's a terrace.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, this is just the name of the neighborhood, Northwood Terrace.
Uh-huh. Okay. Literally land.
Leaned. Leaned.
Leaned.
Like the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Okay,
Leaned.
okay. Leaned.
Right.
Okay. For it had suffered from the blast of the bomb, and the side walls were supported on wooden struts. A smaller bomb and some incendiaries has fallen
Beyond.
behind, so that the house stuck up like a jagged tooth and carried on the farther wall relics of its neighbor. A dado, the remains of a fireplace. T, whose words were almost confined to voting yes or no to the plan of operation proposed each day by Blakey. Once startled the whole gang by saying broadly,
Broodingly. Broodingly.
broodingly,
Yeah. 1 second.
Wren built that house, father says. Who's Wren? The man who built St. Paul's. Who cares? Blakey said. It's holy old miseries.
And we're going to find out who Old Misery is in just a minute. So let's just make this part a little bit clearer before we go on. First of all, I've given you a few definitions. Like impromptu, you can click on the link. I'll open in the background. Relics and brooding, okay?
Uh-huh.
But more important, don't worry about the little details. Let's be clear about what actually happened. This is a description. There's no action. But it's describing T, Trevor, and Blackie, right? Trevor is the new recruit, as we learned, and Blackie, who is Blackie? Now we meet a new character. Who is Blackie?
Blackie is another component of the band.
He is another gang member.
Another gang member.
Right. Is he any gang member, or is he an important gang member?
He's an important gang member.
That's right. He's the leader. He's the head of the gang.
The leader.
It's important to know that for later. So you've got T and Blackie. And what outrageous claim does Blackie make? I'll add this as a question because it's a good thing to think about. What claim does Blackie make? And what does it say about him?
About him?
What does it say about his character, this claim that he makes? So what does he claim to have witnessed? Is that part clear?
No, for me no.
Class, rest of you? What does Blackie claim to have witnessed? Is that clear in the text?
No.
Take a look. Blackie claimed to have heard it fall. Heard what fall?
Fall?
Yeah, what did he hear fall? Fall like dropping from the sky.
Is like to crash, to...
Yeah, that's true. But what crashed? What was it that crashed that he claims to have heard? Take a look at the first sentence here. This part.
Bomb?
The last bomb. The last bomb of the first blitz.
Okay.
And the blitz?
The blitz with aircraft, with plane. Yeah.
Exactly. When Nazi Germany was bombarding London with bombs, the blitz. So he claims to have heard the last bomb of the first blitz. Is that true? Could he have heard it?
Sorry?
Yes.
Can you repeat?
Could he have heard the last bomb, according to the text? Was it possible?
Yes, it was possible.
Say again?
Yes, it was possible.
It was? Why do you say that?
Because there was a really big blitz
Yeah,
and
but how old is Blackie?
9 years old, 10.
Is he 9 or 10? That was Mike is 9. 1.
1 year
Someone
old.
said 1. So
Okay.
at the time, he would have been a baby. So he makes a lot of claims. Maybe he wants to sound tough. But in reality, he probably didn't hear anything. He's just saying that. And everything that was bombed is still broken down because we see this description. Everything is literally leaning on the side. The house that was struck is like a jagged tooth, and it carried further relics of its neighbor, and the remnants of a fireplace. So we're seeing this landscape of bombed houses. I don't know how old he is. Maybe he's 9, maybe he's 10, maybe he's a teenager already. Maybe he's much older, right? But the point is, it's been a good 10, 12 years since the war, and things are still, or since the beginning of the war, since the Blitz, things are still not yet repaired. And this guy Blackie is the leader, but he makes outrageous claims, things that can't possibly be true. So maybe he's just saying that to be tough so that he can stay or become the leader, right? Maybe that's how he got his job. Does Trevor talk a lot? Does T talk a lot? Does he talkative or is he quiet?
He's quiet.
Very quiet,
Mm.
right? His only words are yes and no.
Yes.
So we get lots of character description, but it's not direct. It's kind of through the other description that sets up the story. Impromptu, I gave you a link, but if you click on those links, you'll go to vocabulary.com and you'll see some of the best kinds of parties are impromptu ones. That's an example, right? You've got some synonyms: ad lib, off the cuff, offhand. Impromptu is spontaneous, not planned, improvised.
Okay, okay.
So there's an impromptu car park, meaning the city doesn't have money or resources to build it, but everyone just parks their car. That's where the gang meets. So we get a little portrait of the gang and at least 2 of the members of the gang. All right, and they're talking about this guy, Old Misery. We're going to find out where Old Misery is and who Old Misery is. Let's go to Mohsen. Want to continue reading?
Yes, okay. Old Misery, whose real name was Thomas, had been a builder and decorator. He lived alone in the crippled house, doing for himself. Once a week you could see him coming back across the common with bread and vegetables, and once
Vegetables. V.
vegetables,
Like this.
veg-
Wait. Like violet. Vegetables.
vegetables,
Ah,
vegetables.
you've got to practice.
Yes.
Because you're saying it like a W, wah. But you got to put your teeth, your bottom lip, on your top teeth, like va.
Va,
It's
va.
it's better, yeah.
Yeah.
Vegetables.
Vegetables.
There you go. Very good.
Yes. And once, as the boys played in the car park, he put his head over the smudges wall and his garden and looked at them. Then to the loo, one of the
Loo is the toilet in British English. Been to the loo, the toilet. Like at the time. Well, sorry. Go ahead. We'll talk about it.
yes, one of the boys said, for it was common knowledge that since the bombs fell, something had gone wrong with the pipes of the house, and Old Misery was to mean to spend money to the property. He could do the redecorating himself at a cost price, but he had never learned plumbing. The loo was a wooden shed at the bottom of the narrow garden with a
Star shape.
strash,
Star
a
shape.
star shape, yes, a star-shaped hole in the door. It had escaped the blast which had smashed the house next door and stuck out the window frame of number 3. The next time the gang became aware of Mr. Thomas was more surprising. Blackie Mike and a thin yellow boy, who for some reason was called by his surname Summers, met him on the common coming back from the market. Mr. Thomas stopped them. He said gloomily, "You belong to the lot that play in the car park. You belong to the
You,
lot that
you,
play in the
wait,
car park.
wait, 1 second. You belong. You belong.
You belong."
There you go. So he's asking them if they're part of the gang that he sees in the car park, right? If they're part of that gang. Um,
Yes.
so we now know a little bit about this other character that they're talking about. So I'll put a little question here, but I'll ask you now too. Who is old Misery? Who is he?
Thomas.
And
Thomas.
yeah, that's his real name, right? And what sort of, whoops, I'm going to put this question on the right side. What sort of person is he to the boys? Let's put that over there. So let's see if that part is more or less clear. What would you say about that, Mulson? Misery. Who is old Misery? And as you do this, I'm going to actually, if you, Larry, I can maybe put a little link to as well to this Misery. So let's put in Miser 2, and I'll put a link there. Oh, this is so slow. Hold on a second. Look at this. There we go.
Yes, okay. I think Old Misery or Thomas is a boy who had more knowledge than his friends, and
So
he was
one quick second. So first of all, sorry, because I said misery because I'm not awake yet. Sorry. Old Misery, because I was thinking miser, and I don't know what I was thinking. Miser is like someone who doesn't spend money. But this is Old Misery, they call him. His real name is Thomas. Is he a boy or is he an adult? Let's start there. Is he a boy, Old Misery, or is he an adult?
I think no,
Take a
no,
look at,
no. Yes,
yeah,
yes. He's an adult.
yeah, he's an adult. He had
Yes,
once been a builder and a decorator. So he's a
yes.
guy who worked in construction. He was a builder. Not a construction worker, but probably a local guy who would do repairs and maybe did the construction of local things. This is a small community, a long, long time ago. So he's an adult. And and why do you think they call him Old Misery? If misery here, state of deep unhappiness or discomfort, right? Why do you think they call him Old Misery?
Mm, I
Is he a
think
happy
because
person?
no, because he lived alone
Yeah.
and yes, and do anything for himself.
He lived alone and he does everything for himself?
Yes,
Yeah,
he's
okay.
an isolated person.
Absolutely. So, kind of an easy target, right? He's easy for them to make, easy for the boys to make fun of, and maybe they have a reason to make fun of him too, because he's a builder and all the buildings have been destroyed, right? And does he do
Okay.
anything to fix them? Does he do anything
Mm,
to fix his house or fix the other houses? Or does he just live his life living in this broken down old house?
It's
What's that? Say again?
yes, okay.
he didn't.
Right, yeah. He doesn't do anything. So the boys are making fun of him. Hey, been to the loo, right? He doesn't even fix the pipes, and maybe he's not a very quick person. Maybe he doesn't really know how to do it either. So they're making fun of him, but also the guy is a builder and he doesn't even fix up his own house. So it's kind of like maybe it says something about how the adults or how some people have reacted to the state of affairs. The kids are running around forming gangs and getting organized, and the adults are just kind of living in this burnout location, not doing anything. He was too mean to spend money on the property, right? Nasty old guy who doesn't spend his money, just lives in this dilapidated place and goes to the bathroom outside in the garden. So that's a little bit about old misery. Now we know. Adi, why don't you take this next part here?
Okay. Where is my cruiser? Okay.
We're on
Mike
page three.
was
Yeah, there you
okay.
go.
Mike was about to answer when Blackie stopped him. As the leader, he said responsibilities. Suppose we suppose we are, he said ambiguously. I got some chocolates, Mr. Ross said. Don't like 'em myself. Here you are. Not enough to go round, I don't suppose. There never is, he added with somber conviction. He handed over the three packets of Smarties.
Smarties are
The
like
gang,
little candies.
okay, Smarties. The gang were puzzled and I didn't,
Perturbed.
perturbed,
Perturbed.
perturbed. The gang were puzzled and perturbed by this action and tried to explain it away. Bet someone dropped them and pick them up, somebody suggested. Pinch and pitch 'em and then gain a bleeding
Adi,
fang.
it's
Okay.
really hard to hear you because your connection is cutting out a lot.
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit difficult. Listen, this line. Remember, this is London during the war, so they're speaking with London kind of vocabulary, a little bit old. Pinched him, right? Because instead of saying pinched them, he kind of
Mhm.
cuts his words short. Pinched him and then got in a bleeding funk. So pinched is slang. Does anyone know what what he was trying to say here? What does pinched mean? Normally, if someone pinches you, take a look here. If someone pinches you, they do this, right?
Stick.
Yeah, stick you or this, grab you. Pinched here doesn't mean to grab you with your fingers. It's a slang term. Do you know what it means? If I say, "Hey, oi, mate, go to the store and pinch me some cigarettes," right? What am I telling you to do?
Steal.
Steal, right? So the kid is trying to say that the old man is trying to make contact with them, right? But in reality, the kid is accusing him of just stealing them, right? His candies, or finding them on the street. What nasty little kids, huh?
Very nasty.
Nice old man. Well, they don't think he's so nice. And bleeding funk. Funk. Funk is a state of mind. Do you think it's a good state of mind or a bad state of mind?
It's
If
a
I'm
bad
in a
state of mind.
yeah, if I'm in a
I
funk, go ahead, Audie.
no, no, sorry.
No, no, no. Go ahead.
No, I mean a funk is like an avoid of something or fear or kind of that.
Kind of. Maybe less afraid and more just depressed. I'm in a funk. I'm feeling blue. And bleeding is just that's just British English for it doesn't mean anything. I'm in a bleeding funk. That's not
Very
really
funk.
bleeding.
It's a
It's like
very funk.
yeah, it's just the intensifier,
Uh,
like really a funk, really a depression, a bleeding funk. Kind of means really, not really. I don't know. It doesn't mean anything. But funk is depression. Okay, so the boys are speculating about why the old man is going to give them candy. Keep going, Adi.
okay. It's a Bible, Summer
It's a
said.
Bible? No.
Oh,
Okay,
no, no, no. It's a bribe.
it's a bribe. Mhm.
It's a bribe, Summer said. He wants us to stop bunching ball and on his wall. Oh. Well, him, we don't take bribes, Blakey said, and they sacrificed the whole morning to the game of bouncing that only Mike was young enough to enjoy. There was no sign for Mr. Thomas. Next day, tea, astonished, huh? Astonished them all.
Astonished.
Astonished them all. He was late at the rendezvous and voting for that date. Exploit took place without him. Blake's suggestion the gang was to to disperse in
Disperse. Yeah.
pairs. Disperse in pairs. Take buses at random and see how many free rides could be snatched from unwary conductors. The operation was to be carried out in pairs to avoid cheating. They were drawing lots for their companions when Thea arrived. Who is the Thomas?
T is
Yes.
Trevor. T is not Thomas.
Oh,
Thomas is the old
Trevor.
man. Let me do the
Yeah.
dialogue here so you're gonna get the hang of it. So listen to how they
Yes.
talk to each other. Oi, where you been, T? Blackie asked. You can't vote now. You know the rules. I've been there, T said. He looked at the ground as though he had thoughts to hide. Where? At old Misery's. Mike's mouth opened and then hurried closed again with a click. He had remembered the frog. Mike is a clever boy. He knows a frog's going to go in there if he keeps his mouth open. At old Misery's, Blackie said. By the way, that's my worst British accent. At old Misery's, Blackie said. There was nothing in the rules against it, but he had a sensation that T was treading on dangerous ground. He asked hopefully, Did you break in? No, I rang the bell. What did you say? I said I wanted to see his house. What did he do? He showed it to me. Pinch anything? Steal anything? No. What did you do it for then? The gang had gathered round. It was as though an impromptu court were about to form to try some case of deviation. Try here means like in a trial. So the kids are forming an instant court with a judge and jury. And they're going to try because T had done something without asking the group. So they were about to form and try a case of deviation. T said, It's a beautiful house. And still watching the ground, meeting no one's eyes, he licked his lips the first way and then the other. Oi, what do you mean a beautiful house? Blackie asked with scorn. It's got a staircase. 200-year-olds like a corkscrew. Nothing holds it up. What do you mean nothing holds it up? Does it float? It's to do with opposite forces, old Misery said. What else? There's paneling, like in the Blue Boar, 200 years old. It's old Misery, 200 years old. So they're all getting interested in the house. We got a few more minutes. So Sylvia, why don't you take this one? Sorry, if there's any questions, just ask. I don't know, maybe the dialogue isn't clear. But the basic idea here is they're getting interested, but at first it seems like they're going to put Trevor on trial because he did something without asking the group. But it seems like they're more curious than they are angry at Trevor for being different. Anyway, if there's anything you don't know, just ask. If not, we'll continue. Go ahead, Sylvia.
Mike laughed suddenly, and then was quiet again. The meeting was in a serious mood. For the first time since he had strolled into the car park on the first day on the holidays, his position was in danger. It only needed a single use of his real name, and the gang would be at his heels. "What did you do it for?" Blackie asked. He had not jealous, he was anxious to retain T in the gang if he could. It was the word beautiful that worried him, that belonged to a class word that you could still see parodied at the Wormsey Common Empire by a man wearing a top hat and a monocle, with a how accent.
I don't know what a how accent is. But you can kind of picture a kind of old vaudeville theater where they're making fun of the aristocracy that has to now live like everyone else. Something like that. I don't know what a haw-haw accent is. Oh, I get it. I know. It's haw-haw, like using Queen's English. Maybe it's like that. Haughty. Probably that's what it is. Sorry, go ahead.
He was tempted to say, "My dear Trevor, old chap," and unleash his hellhounds. "If you'd broken in," he said sadly, "that indeed would have been an exploit worthy of the gang."
Keep going.
This was better, he said. "I found out these things," he continued to stare at his feet, not meeting anybody's eye, as though he were absorbed
As though
he were absorbed in some dream he was unwilling or ashamed to share. "What thing?" "Old Misery going to be away all tomorrow and Bank Holiday."
Keep going.
Becky said with relief. "You mean we could break in?" "And pinch things?" somebody asked. Becky said, "Nobody's going to pinch things. Breaking in, that's good enough, isn't it? He don't want any court stuff." "I don't want to pinch anything," he said. "I've got a better idea." "What's it?"
And last line there, Sylvia.
Okay. He raised his eyes, as grey and disturbed as the drab August day. "Well, pull it down," he said. "We'll destroy it." "We'll destroy it."
Boom. And now Trevor is part of the gang again. So, why was Trevor in trouble in that little dialogue? Is that clear?
He used for them a weird word to snob word.
Yeah. He started to sound like those rich people that now have to live like everyone else. Did he redeem himself?
Yes.
He did. Why do you think he's now redeemed? I think he is. We'll find out. I'm not sure, but I think so. But why do you think he might be redeemed now?
Because he changed his mind and he started to change also his accent.
Oh, I don't think that's the reason. I think it's what he suggests that's the reason. What is he? They think he's going to go in and he's just looking at the beautiful house. But he's got a different idea, doesn't he? He's got a These are kids. They're just kind of going out every day, trying to jump on the bus for free. They have these little plans. They're like kind of young. They've got these little plans and adventures they plan, and that's about it. But he's thinking big. What's his outrageous suggestion, Sylvia?
Enter inside the old misery
And do what?
and somebody asked to pinch something and he said no, we can enter inside.
And do what?
He has a better idea, but we don't know what.
We do know.
Yeah, we'll put it down. So destroyed the old misery.
They're going to destroy the entire house. That's the plan.
Wow.
Wow. This kid is thinking big. so, so they're just doing these little petty crimes. This guy wants to do something that, this is like a felony. He's on his way. We've got about maybe 2 minutes. So before we end, Mohsen, let's read one more time. Maybe we'll do this little dialogue part here. Go for it, Mohsen.
Yes, okay. Blackie gave a single hoot of laughter and then, like Mike, fell quiet, daunted by the serious, implacable gaze.
Implacable, or implacable, either way.
Implacable gaze. What the police be doing all the time? He said. They'd never know. We do it from inside. I found a way in, he said with a sort of intensity. We'd be like worms, don't you see, in an apple. When we came out again, there'd be nothing there, no staircase, no panels, nothing but just walls. And then we'd make the walls fall down somehow. We'd go to Judge, Blackie said.
Jug.
Jug.
By the way,
Yes.
I don't even know what some of this means. It's some kind of slang, so I don't know what that means. Go to jug. Jug is like, something big you carry water in. A jug of water, like a big jar. So I'm not sure what he means. But anyway, go ahead.
Yes, okay. Who's to prove? And anyway, we wouldn't have pinched anything, he added without the smallest flicker of glee. There wouldn't be anything to pinch after we'd finished. I've never heard of going to prison for breaking things, Summers said. There wouldn't be time, Blackie said. I've seen housebreakers at work. There are 12 of us, T said. We'd organize. None of us know how. I know, T said, who looked across at Blackie. Have you got a better plan? Today, Mike said tactlessly. We're pinching free rides. Free ride, T said. You can stand down, Blackie. You can stand down, Blackie, if you'd rather. The gang's got to vote. Put it up then.
Let's stop there for a second because we've got to end the class. So, Blackie's the leader. Does Blackie want to go and pull down, break up the house, and destroy it? Does he feel good about it? Does Blackie want to do this? What do you think? Class? Does Blackie want to do it? Or is Blackie afraid?
He was afraid.
Blackie's afraid. That means that T is stepping up into the power position of leader. T did something outrageous. It's going to change the whole group. We've got to stop now. Later today, I'm going to add a few comprehension questions at the bottom, discussion questions for you to think about. See how we'll probably read the next section together on Thursday. Not Thursday. It's going to be next week. But I'm going to put the discussion questions there to help you think about if you want to read the rest of the story. I'll be back in 30 seconds to start the business class, and I'll send you the link to this later today. Sorry to rush, but I got to start the next class, okay? Bye for now.